Hello and welcome to Fast Break Bets, brought to you by Thrive Fantasy and the DRF Sportsbook for May 19th. How is everyone doing? My name is Eric. I'm the man from ETOF21 Sports. As you can tell, I am going solo today. Obviously, with the Preakness going on, Gino is busy doing some work for DRF with the Preakness, so you have old Uncle Rico all to yourself. Very interesting game last night. Let me touch on that. Denver took control. That fourth quarter by Jamal Murray was absolutely insane. One of the best fourth quarter single game performances you will ever see from an NBA player. He just was not missing. And when you factor in the ear infection he has, what he is able to do is absolutely positively insane. Flip side for the Lakers, I said right after, if they lost, I said, guys, right after I said this yesterday, you have to go in, you have to lock that in. Hopefully you guys listened. If you listen to good old Uncle Rico, you lock that in at -3.5 for the game, -1.5 for the first half. That is already ballooned up to -5. So hopefully you guys lock that in. Obviously, Gino and I will be back tomorrow. We'll have some player props for the game, and hopefully you got into the Lakers bright and early like Gino and myself did. Now let's bring up the lines over at DRF. But before I do that, I want to give DRF a quick shout out. For those in Iowa, go over to DRF. Link is FAST1000. That way they know Gino and myself sent you. You get a $1,000 deposit match by using that promo code or using the link in the YouTube description. So if you're in Iowa, make sure to check that out. They're going to be greatly going back to other states and using and expanding, Now let's bring up the good old DRF Sportsbook. Now I have a couple plays in this game. My first play that I locked in was I took the Celtics here minus the 5.5 for the first half. I'm betting obviously on the bounce back spot. Celtics, they're going to be, if you just kind of look at them, they've covered every single game for the first half except for one after a loss. I'm expect the defensive effort to be dialed up. When you look at the whole span, after a home team in this playoff series has lost a game one, they have only failed to cover one first half spread, and that was the Knicks in game two against the Miami Heat last game. I expect we're going to see some very intense defensive effort from the Celtics to start, and they're going to look to move the ball better. The one thing that really stood out to me is their offense was the best when the ball was moving and not just sticking in isolation. Now, they dominated the paint, and the Heat shot lights out from beyond the arc. Look, I expect some shot regression. I expect the Celtics to still dominate the paint. I expect the ball to be moving a lot more. Tatum and Brown, I've been very bullish on them. They're at their best when they're not just dribbling, when they're moving the ball, getting other people involved. Ball was sticking too much in the second half in my eyes. This game reminds me a lot of game two when the Milwaukee Bucks just hit the try. First quarter, first half in game against this Miami Heat team. I expect it to be very similar. Also, you look at the last 3 years, okay? Home teams in game two, last 3 years are 83% ATS. When they're trailing 0-1, that is 89% ATS when teams are home like the Celtics were. And also, let's not remember, last year the Celtics did lose the first game to this Miami Heat team. Game two, they won by 25. So I expect that insane bounce back spot for the Boston Celtics. Now, let's shoot over to a play on the total. And for those that watched yesterday, I mentioned this trend. We're going to be on it again. We're taking the Celtics and Heat. We're taking the under 216.5 for the game. I mentioned yesterday, when games go over in the first game, the second game two's unders are hitting at an above 70%. So we're going to play the trend here. Obviously, when you look how well the Heat shot they're due for some regression. Celtics, they're due for a little bit shot regression too per shot quality. So I'm going to play the Celtics and the Heat under 216.5. I expect the Celtics to have a better defensive effort. I expect us to see less Robert Williams, more Al Horford. I expect a lot more smaller lineup that's going to be a better defensive matchup to combat what the Miami Heat like to do in terms of player props. Have a couple player props here that I'm going to be locking in. First player prop, I'm going to it. Give me Big Al over 6.5 rebounds. Should have hit last game. I know everyone's talking about how good of a game Williams had, but he was a minus 14 for the game. The Celtics were a plus 8 when he was off the court. I really think we're going to see, like I said, the Celtics go a little bit smaller. I think Big Al is going to play more minutes. For the playoffs, he has 12.7 rebound chances per game. Last game, he had 10 rebound chances. Also, no Williams equals more rebound chances. And with the Heat shot regression coming, obviously that's going to equal more opportunities for a rebound chances. I expect Al to fly over this total of 6.5. And lastly, I'm rolling the dice here. I'm trying to hit a home run. This is a small half unit play. I am going Big Al double 10-1. Like I said, I just expect him to play more minutes, get more open looks with a pick and roll with Tatum and Brown, obviously get more rebounding chances. Like I said, 12.7 rebound chances for the playoffs, 10 rebound chances last game, Heat shot regression, and no Robert Williams equal more chances for Big Al to hit this double-double at 10-1. So those are my bets for today. We're going Celtics first half minus the 5.5. Celtics for the game minus the 9. Over under 216.5. Taking Big Al over the 6.5 rebounds and Big Al to have a daily double at 10-1. Now, look, of course, we need a little Thrive Fantasy love here. Those who watched yesterday cashed it. I gave out, what did I have? I had Michael Porter over the 6.5 rebounds, which cashed, and I had D'Lo under 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists. My three that I am going with today, like I said, I'm going with Robert Williams under the 16.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I just think this isn't a Robert Williams series. I mentioned it when the Celtics played the Hawks earlier on that, look, sometimes it's a matchup based, and it's matchup based for Williams. I think we're going to see a decrease in his minutes. Like I mentioned, Celtics were a minus 14 with him on the court. They were a plus 8 with him not on the court. That's going to lead to my second play, Big Al to have over 6.5 rebounds, 10 rebound opportunity chances last game, finished at 6. He due for some shot regression. That's going to equal more rebounded chances. Plus, no Robert Williams is going to eat less Robert Williams minutes is going to equal more rebounded chances. And finally, we are going with Kyle Lowry under. Oh, this is supposed to be over. I am sorry about that. That's supposed to be Big Al over, not less. Let me change that before I lock that bad boy in. Where is Big Al? There he is, Big Al more. So we had Horford over 6.5. We're just going to go Kyle Lowry here under the 14.5 points and rebounds. Last game shot the lights out. I expect for some shot regression. He had 18 last time. I think that total is a little bit high. I think they're going to force to take the ball out of his hands. We need to remember he had some lockdown threes that kept the Heat into the game. Also, it wouldn't surprise me if the Heat kind of pulled what they did against the Milwaukee Bucks and kind of pulled everyone off in the second half, and it just got to a boat race, and the Celtics covered. So there it is, folks. Thanks for tuning in for Fast Break Bets, sponsored by the DRF Sportsbook and Thrive Fantasy. Gino and I will be back tomorrow at noon. We'll be telling you every single bet to lock in. Hopefully you guys have been following along. It's been a great NBA season. Little over. I am plus 39.28U on the year. So hopefully you guys have been tailing my bets along with Gino's bets. If you have, you've been cashing. Let's make some money. Let's cash some tickets. We'll be back next week. Tomorrow, boys and girls. Best of luck.